Okay, ready to go. All right, welcome to Confidence on Camera. I'm Larry Meisel. This channel is for beginning YouTubers who want to overcome the self-conscious tongue-tiedness that goes along with standing in a room by yourself, looking into a camera lens and trying to make it seem like you're having a casual, enjoyable conversation with a couple thousand of your imaginary friends. In this video, I'm going to practice talking to the camera by describing a concept called see, there goes that tongue-tiedness thing. I'm going to describe what John and Julie Gottman call the sound relationship house. And this is a concept that the Gottmans came up with because they are two of the most famous and well-respected marriage and family therapists and marriage and family researchers in the country. And the sound relationship house is the structure that they describe to have long-lasting relationships. John and Julie have been married for over 30 years, and they've been doing research and doing marriage counseling for over 30 years. So they've been able to identify the things that lead to long-lasting happy marriages and things that contribute to marriages not working out. So the sound relationship house, they have the first three elements in layers, like levels of a house. I think of it a little bit differently, so I turn them sideways and I consider the first three things to be blocks in the foundation. And the first block in the foundation, their term for it, they call it love maps, which I think is kind of a corny term, but what it means is good friends know a lot about each other. Love maps is kind of a cognitive map or cognitive set of information that you have about your partner. And after you've been together for a while, you may think that, you know pretty much everything there is. But even if you've been together for years, there's still some things that you haven't found out. And more importantly, there are things that have changed and you need to stay up to date on. So continuing to communicate and have that sense of connection to each other is love maps. Then the next block in the foundation is called fondness and admiration. Giving each other compliments, letting each other know what you like about each other, and it builds a sense of goodwill. It's money in the bank for knowing that my partner has things they think fondly of me, they like me. So when we hit rough spots, there's a reserve of goodwill. The third block in the foundation is called turning towards instead of turning away or turning against. And the example I use to get this point across is two people are driving in the car, and two people are driving in a car, and one person says, "Hey, look at that billboard. That's interesting. I never noticed that before." And the other person says, "Oh, yeah, that's pretty cool." These are just day-to-day interactions that we do. We make bids for each other's attention, and when it gets reciprocated, we have a sense of connection and we feel a sense of security. The other possibilities are, "Hey, look at the billboard," and the other person says nothing. They just stare out the window. It seems like they didn't say anything at all, and you feel rejected. You feel let down. You feel abandoned. Third possibility is, "Hey, look at that billboard. I never noticed that before." And the other person says, "Shut up, I'm trying to drive." So there's turning toward, turning away, and turning against. And what you don't want to do is bump the microphone, because that's like really unprofessional. And these turning towards is also things that you do to build rituals of connection. How do you celebrate birthdays? What do you do for holidays? Um, how do you celebrate a reward, or if somebody gets a promotion at work or something good happens, and how do you share the experience? An example that I use for this is a long, long time ago. I was reading an article in a magazine, and the point of the article was this guy was recounting um, the success of his marriage. And he said it all started several years ago when the kids were young, and we were having a very busy Saturday because we had to take the kids to their activities, and we had chores to do, and we had repair projects on the house, and the lawn, and the lawn needed mowing, and the bushes needed trimming. And all of a sudden, we both put down the rake and the shovel, and we just went up the street to a diner to have coffee and just take a break. And the guy in the article said, and we had coffee for 2 hours. And ever since then, every Saturday, they go for coffee. These are rituals of connection, the things that keep us securely attached to each other. And these three blocks in the foundation are, the Gottmans refer to it as the friendship level of the house. These are the things that build an atmosphere of goodwill. The Gottmans call it a positive sentiment override. And that's the atmosphere that you need to build the next level of the house, which is how to manage conflict, how to give each other the benefit of the doubt when things are going wrong, to not over-personalize, to not get aggressive, angry, defensive, and to be able to find compromise on the things that you can compromise on. And a troubling bad news from the Gottman's research is they found that 69% of the conflict in marriage is not resolvable. You need to find a way to work through it. You need to find a way to work with it. What they did to discover this was they had newlyweds come in and talk about their problems. And then they had them come back 6 years later and talk about their problems. 12 years, 18 years later, and the content was the same. The problems didn't go away. And for that situation where they can't find compromise, you need to do what they refer to as exchange argument and persuasion and convincing with genuine curiosity, to develop understanding for the other person, to develop empathy for why the other person is that way, to go from saying, why the hell did you do that, to, why the hell did you do that? I never would have done it that way. Where'd you come up with that? How'd you learn? What's that about? Tell me, I want to understand. And the things that are conflicts that are not resolvable usually relate to core aspects of the person's personality. Or a lot of times people have promises that they made to themselves early in life that they don't want to give up on. Dreams that they had where they promised me, when I get older, when I'm an adult, I'm never going to have to. And then you fill in the blank. Or when I get older, I'm always gonna, and you fill in the blank. And also values about the way people think, what people think is the right way to do things. And I find that these a lot of times also come from early experiences, the way we grew up. I jokingly tell folks that I got married a little bit later than usual. I was in my early 30s. And so I had been on the planet for 33 years before I found out that in order to make meatloaf, you have to have cornflakes. My wife and I would never. I said, What do you want for dinner?" She said, "I don't know." We went back and forth. How about meatloaf? It's a comfort food, It's a thing from when I was a kid. It's great. We'll make meatloaf. And my wife said, "Well, we don't have any cornflakes." And I said, "What the heck do cornflakes have to do with meatloaf?" Well, of course, cornflakes are necessary because you put them on the outside of the meatloaf, you put it in the oven, you bake it, and it makes a nice crispy crust. Who knew? There's also a story about a family that had pot roast every Sunday. And in making the pot roast, they would always cut 2 inches off of the roast and turn it sideways in the pan. And somebody asked, they said, we've always done this, but why do we do it that way? And the current adult generation said, "Well, I don't know. We just always did it that way. Let's ask Mom." And they asked Mom, and I said, "Mom, how come we always make meatloaf? Like how come we always make pot roast? Cut 2 inches off the end and put it sideways." Mom said, "I don't know. That's the way I learned to do it from your mother." So they asked Grandma, and "Grandma, why do we have to cut 2 inches off of the pot roast and turn it side?" And Grandma said, "Oh, well, it was during the Depression and we only had one pan and that's how we had to cut. And so the right way to do things has a lot to do with the way we grew up. And these are the things that we cling to. So we have conflicts in our relationships that are not are non-negotiable. They're things that are unsolvable, and we have to learn to live with them. And a good way to learn to live with them is to have genuine curiosity about how they got that way. Then the final level of the sound relationship house, the top level, is having a sense of shared meaning and purpose. So, and this comes about over time. One of my prime examples is we work together to save for retirement. We worked together to make sure that the kids could go to college if they wanted to. We worked together to support the kids. We worked together to accomplish what's meaningful. Um, I was working with a military family one time, and you know how all the units have a military they have a patch for the unit, and there are symbols and meaning to that patch. And so one of the things they did to improve the marriage and the family was they came up with a family patch, and they could actually go and have one made. It's a family crest. It's that thing that symbolizes the values and the traditions that hold our family together. So when you get all the levels of the house, the Gottmans a couple of years ago came up with two additional ideas, which are the walls for the house. One wall is called trust, and the other wall is commitment. Trust. I can rely on you. I know you're going to do what you tell me you're going to do. I know you're going to be where you say you're going to be, doing what you say you're going to be doing. I can rely on you. And the other is commitment. Secure attachment. You know that the for better or worse vow that we all said before we got married, that we mean it. That I'm not going anywhere. I'm committed to making this work. So those are the foundation level love maps, how much you know about each other, because good friends know a lot about each other. Fondness and admiration, remembering to tell each other what you like about each other. Um, Give praise, point out what people do right, and give praise and say thank you, and have rituals of connection. Turn towards each other. We make bids for each other's attention, and when we don't get it, we feel rejected, and after a while, we'll stop asking, and then we'll start growing apart instead of together. create that atmosphere that develops the goodwill necessary for solving conflicts, finding compromise. And on the things you can't compromise, um, the Gottmans call that level honoring the dream instead of resolving the conflict. And on the top level, develop a shared sense of purpose and meaning. Develop walls of trust and commitment. So this has been my 19th day of a 30-day challenge to record at least one video per day for 30 days. I'm going to reward myself if I'm successful, at least 90% successful, if I record at least 27 videos within 30 days. And I'm on track. I haven't missed a day yet. I'm going to reward myself with buying a piece of equipment for the channel. And the scary thing is the punishment, if I'm not successful, the punishment is going to be donating $25 to Donald Trump's presidential campaign. And that would be excruciatingly painful. So the motivation is really high. And another purpose for confidence on camera is to develop and improve my presentation and the quality of videos for my main channel, which is over here on the screen, called The Examined Life. The motto for The Examined Life is wonder, explore, create, and grow. And that channel is for people who want to have civil discussion of ideas and issues, from the tremendously important to the trivial but interesting. And one of the metrics for success on that channel is going to be the quality and the quantity of the discussion section, the comment section, and getting a discussion going, civil discussion. And the goal for the channel is going to be to get monetized for the purpose of donating 90% of the proceeds from the channel to Doctors Without Borders, Feeding America, a worldwide hunger and poverty relief NGO called Oxfam, and donating to the civil rights, the human rights organization, Amnesty International. So there you have it. If you've been with me this long, you know the drill. Like, comment, and subscribe. And tomorrow will be video number 20, and I hope you'll come back tomorrow. Give me your comments and suggestions, your observations, and constructive criticism for how I can improve my presentation. So I hope I'll be seeing you tomorrow. My plan for tomorrow is to list the things that I have learned so far from recording a video once a day. So once again, come on back tomorrow. Want to see you there. Bye-bye. Oh, and you can turn away now because I'm going to make some funny faces and gyrations so that I can get a thumbnail for tomorrow for the video. Okay? Are you ready? Bye-bye now.